And in other defense news this week, the Army recently saw some significant red ink in the budget proposal by the Biden administration. For that story and other headlines, Defense News land warfare reporter Jen Judson has more.
The recently released fiscal year 2022 President's budget request showed the Army was the only service to take a cut to its total budget, with hits to its critical procurement and research and development accounts. Some are saying the service is a bill payer in order to boost Navy and Air Force budgets, but the Army's pushing back on that opinion. The two-star in charge of the Army budget, Major General Paul Chamberlain, said the service's top line did drop, but the majority of that reduction could be attributed to changes in U.S. Central Command area of operation. The U.S. is preparing to withdraw troops from Afghanistan by September 11th this year. The Army does appear to be able to keep a portion of the savings brought on by an Afghanistan exit and is asking for direct and enduring war costs to cover its operations. The Pentagon is expecting to save $11.8 billion in costs as a result of the withdrawal. Overall, the Army's budget protected its major modernization priorities as the service undergoes a transformational change by 2030 it hasn't seen in 40 years. The Army is buying less aircraft and combat vehicles in the legacy fleet in order to preserve future weapon systems, and this is likely the last year it will be able to avoid cutting into its protected programs should budgets continue to drop. Army Chief of Staff General James McConville sent a wish list to Capitol Hill on June 1st. The list asked for $5.5 billion in additional money that would help reduce risk to operational readiness and protect critical modernization efforts. This wish list, which helps Congress understand where the service could use more funding if available, included a $1 billion placeholder for unforecasted war costs and homeland contingency operations, as this fiscal year marks the first year wartime funding is included in the base budget and not separated out since its inception. Lawmakers are already expressing concern that it will be hard to figure out where to prioritize adding funding back into the military's budget without seeing its 5-year budgeting plan, which it publicly shares each year, but did not this year and will not unveil until the fiscal year 2023 budget request rolls out next year. The U.S. Army now knows who is building its turreted autocannon for the Stryker. Oshkosh Defense will build the system for roughly 91 vehicles with a medium-caliber weapon system in a deal worth $130 million. The Army could build up to 6 Stryker brigades with the system, making a potential contract worth some $942 million over 6 years. Oshkosh beat out 2 other teams, and while the Army would not name competitors, sources familiar with the process have told Defense News it was a General Dynamics Land Systems and Kongsberg defense team and a team from Leonardo DRS and Moog. Learjet scored a nearly $500 million contract with the U.S. Air Force for its Bombardier Global 6000 business jets. The aircraft will be modified into the E-11A, which is used to share data between platforms that usually aren't able to share information. The contract immediately obligated $70 million to pay for the first aircraft out of a potential total of 6 planes. That aircraft will become an E-11A once it is modified with Northrop Grumman's Battlefield Airborne Communications Node payload. The payload provides relay, bridging, and data translation for platforms that are not able to communicate, either because they use different voice and data link systems or are separated by mountains or other terrain. Currently, the Air Force retains 7 aircraft with the payload. The U.S. Air Force has wrapped up the first phase of its Golden Horde demonstration effort, putting the service one step closer to developing swarming, smart munitions that behave semi-autonomously and use algorithms to seek high-priority targets. But a top general says the technology isn't on its way to becoming a program just yet. General Arnold Bunch, who leads Air Force Materiel Command, told reporters that the service intends to conduct virtual experiments with collaborative munitions as it decides what elements of Golden Horde to further develop. During a recent event at White Sands Missile Range, 2 F-16 jets launched 6 collaborative small-diameter bombs, which are modified versions of Boeing's small-diameter bomb. The Air Force plans to build the Coliseum, which will be a virtual world to test these types of collaborative weapons.